Hello, Worcester. Welcome to WPS News. I'm Teresa Forndia.
And I'm Rachel Grace Cabana. We are juniors at Worcester Technical High School.
We're here to share some news from around the Worcester Public Schools district.
Let's visit our own school, Worcester Tech, where the automotive students teamed up with the nonprofit Second Chance Cars.
Students repair a donated car for Kenny, who works at Veterans Inc. Without a car, he spent 4 hours commuting to work each day.
Take a look at this heartwarming story.
Second Chance Cars help provide people with affordable cars to get to work.
This is the kind of scenario that we only dream about, and you're making it come true. So without further ado, I want to get you on your way to fulfilling your dreams and other people's dreams, equally importantly. So let's take a look at this beautiful car that Peter and his wife have donated. It's a 2011 Subaru Outback. Look at this. Look at this. Go ahead. Thank you, everybody, for being here. This was a great, great morning, and congratulations, Kenny.
We first did like a multi-point inspection, really just checking over like all of the car, seeing if there's any issues. We found out there was like brake problems, sensors, codes. We took a test drive, used a scan tool, and then, did a few touches on it, and we got the car to like run correctly, as it should be.
Can I start it in here?
If you want, it's your car. I can't hear it. Did you start it?
So not only is it a good cause, but it's also teaching us.
And Kenny plans to pay it forward by starting a charity helping homeless veterans.
Next up at Worcester Tech, students got the opportunity to interview Vietnam veterans.
Videos of these interviews will be available at the Vietnam Memorial in Green Hill Park after renovations at the memorial are complete.
Seems like a very special project. Let's check it out.
So we've been interviewing Vietnam veterans for the Vietnam Memorial down at Green Hill Park. It's nice to archive their stories, especially since, a lot of them are getting up there in age. It's nice to get firsthand recollections of what it was like.
There's the right side, the wrong side, and the real side. Depends who you're talking to.
I learned a lot of how it was for the veterans, the inside story, what they went in, day out.
With me, I've always been a jokester. That's one thing I enjoy in life, is to put a smile on people's faces.
So my class spent 2 or 3 days writing some questions.
It varied from question to question. Obviously, there was some that were more lighthearted than the others, but for the really serious ones, it was definitely sad.
You just can't relate to people here.
I'm just really happy that we get to tell their stories.
Definitely a really good learning experience. I never really thought about what these veterans had gone through. No one knows what war is like until you experience it firsthand.
War, is never easy, and history will always try and make of it one way, but hearing how they felt of it is important.
Coming from a small town in Millbury, it was a different thing, because all of a sudden you're in boot camp and all you're doing is listen to people tell you what to do. And then the next thing you know, you're out to the fleet, and you're in a compartment with the Fox Division, which was in charge of the electronics for the gun mounts, and the gunner's mates department. And everybody's different in race, everybody's different in religion. And everybody's got to get along.
The opportunity that kids have today to get in the military, you can get your education paid for when you get out. You can get job placement when you get out. There's so many, and Worcester Technical is the perfect example, because you offer so many different curriculums. You could put that to work in the service. It's not all guns and all that. If that's what you want to do, you join the infantry and you get yourself into situations where you can travel in combat situations. But otherwise, you can get a hell of an education in the service.
And somebody walked up to me and said, "Thank you for your service." And the guy shook my hand, turned around, and walked away. And I'm saying, what the heck what's this all about? And my son said, "I think it was your hat." And I had on a Vietnam veteran. I said, damn, that's the first time that's ever happened. And I had already been home from the war 20 years.
North High recently hosted the Performing Arts Showcase.
Each winter and spring, students demonstrate their skills in art, dance, theater, chorus, and band.
Let's take a look at what makes this event unique to North. So this is a collaborative art, music, and theater, and now dance show. We put it on once in January and once in May every year. It's just a good way for the kids to showcase what they've been working on all semester in art, music, theater, and dance.
For dance, this is an extracurricular club that they have after school. There's so many of them that this is their very first time, being on a stage doing a performance as a 17 or an 18-year-old kid. And, in many places that's not the case. So it's unique here at North because we're using theater and chorus and music to give every kid to have an opportunity to do something. So the experiences that they get doing this is something they'll never forget. The band is in its third year here. It was a newer program. We're up to 65 kids at this point.
The goal is to have every student that we have in the semester to have one piece. And so they pick the piece that they're proudest of. It's just really great to see the kids and how proud they are of putting up their art.
Working together on this is something I think kind of unique to North and to the level that we're doing it anyway.
Hiatt Magnet School celebrated Black History Month with an art museum-style exhibition.
Students learned about the contributions, struggles, and achievements of African Americans throughout history.
Let's watch this fun, interactive event.
In our last segment, Worcester Tech students from the Superintendent Student Advisory Council interviewed our superintendent, Dr. Monárrez.
They discussed who had the biggest influence on Dr. Monárrez and what advice she would give to her high school self and more.
Let's get to know our superintendent a little bit more.
Hello, good day, and welcome to Ask the Superintendent. I'm here today being interviewed by two fabulous scholars from Worcester Tech High School. We have...
My name is Simon Restrepo, and I'm a junior at Worcester Tech.
I'm Kosar Adam, a senior at Worcester Tech.
And so they've got some great questions for me, and so I'm going to turn it over to you. Who's first?
I'll go first. All right, so you've had some big changes in the past few years. What has been the biggest challenge during that transition?
Such a good question, and I really had to stop and think about it. I think if I could summarize, the biggest challenge is that everything is new. Mm-hmm. Yes. Everything is new. Yeah. Whether it's where do you go to get your dry cleaning done? Mm-hmm. I need a dentist and a doctor. Yeah. I need to know how to just get around and which grocery store is going to work best for us. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, learning the school district, learning the schools, learning the people in the community. So everything is new, and that is very challenging.
Yep. And to follow up, do you have any guidance or tips for students who are going through transitional challenges like how you did?
I do. I think the biggest piece is to recognize that it is a transition. So life won't always be this kind of exhausting part of everything being new. Remind yourself, do that self-talk about this is just something new, and see it as an adventure and something exciting rather than something that's weighing you down and carrying you. I think that's really important. I've been using this term, embrace the squiggle, because life is not as straight and narrow. It has lots of movement in it, and so be comfortable with that. and be okay with not knowing, and asking for help. For some of us, me being one especially, it's really hard for me to ask for help. So this forced me to do that, which actually then creates those natural bonds with other people, and that's a really important life skill, because we're not supposed to do this life by ourselves. Yeah. So that's one. And then I think the other is be okay with making mistakes and kind of falling down. That's really important. That's going to be part of it. And then finally, rest. Yeah, find time to just say, I just need to rest right now, because so much is new. And so your brain is it's on a constant overdrive. Yep. So taking care of yourself is really important too.
Yeah, definitely, I agree 100%.
Great question.
Thank you. All right, and my next question will be, thinking back to when you were in high school, what advice would you give yourself?
Don't try to dress like Madonna. No, I'm just kidding. That was my time period. I would say, this was a great question too. Know who you are and be proud of it. Yes. Yeah. Be yourself, own who you are. It took me many decades after high school for me finally to really own my identity, and that's so incredibly important no matter what you decide to do in your career. So, and when you're in high school, don't try to be someone else. Yeah. Be okay with who you are, where you are in life, and then set goals for yourself and figure out how you're going to get there, knowing that life's a squiggle. Yep. And so, you're going to have these downfalls. I have a kind of a little saying that I have in my bathroom that I look at every day. It says, be yourself, there's no one else like you. And that's just so important, because in high school, and even in your early 20s, you feel like you have to like compete with others, and you don't. Yeah. Right? You were born with beautiful innate talents and gifts, and you want to give that to others. That's the way you were made, right? So own it, love the language you speak in your home, the culture, the foods. Just be who you are, because you are exactly who you're supposed to be, and wherever you're at, you're supposed to be in that place for some reason, no matter how hard it is, because there's a plan for you later.
Yeah. Definitely. I just want to add, I think in a world that's constantly changing, I don't think that change has to impact you. So I think being yourself is ultimately the number one thing you could do for yourself. So, yep.
Nicely said.
Thank you.
So I'd like to ask, what did you want to be when you were little, and how did that vision evolve over time?
It's funny, because when I saw that, I thought, I had forgotten that when I was really little, what I wanted to be was an interior designer. Really? Yeah, cool. I did. I had no clue how to get there. And I remember my dad getting a shoebox for me and putting in like little pieces of fabric and rocks. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. So I like decorated my rocks. But that's as far as I went, because I didn't have anybody really guiding me. And so I forgot about that until actually when I moved here and we were decorating our new home, and I started finding a lot of fun and passion. And I was like, that's right, that's what I wanted to be when I was a little girl. But then as time progressed, then I decided I wanted to be a lawyer, because I like to talk a lot. Well, no, maybe I like to debate. That's probably more of it. I like to debate. I actually am pretty quiet when I can be, but I like to debate. So I wanted to go into law. I earned my bachelor's in history, but I wanted to go into immigration law, and I knew that that would not necessarily produce a lot of money, and I was going to have to get really big loans to go to law school. And so I changed my path and became an educator, and that's part of that squiggle, because I landed exactly where I needed to be. So it was an interesting kind of trajectory, but I wanted to be an interior designer, lawyer, and educator. I never had any intention of being a superintendent. I didn't even know what that was. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that squiggle led you to us. So. Thank you. Yeah. And then lastly, I have, who are some people who have influenced you in your life, and how did that shape you as a person?
Another great question. I would say, so personally, it's my father. My father, and he was not around a lot. He had to travel for work a lot. But when I look back on who I am, I know that it is, or who I've become in kind of my life's journey, it's because the way that my dad really let me experience life and do my mistakes, and he never passed judgment on me. And he really just, I would watch him, how he loved life. Like my dad was a speed demon on the freeways in LA, crazy. But I could look back on it now, and when I spoke at his eulogy, I said, I really think he was just in such a hurry to get life, right? So he'd get on that freeway and he'd had to get over to that fast lane really fast, and then he could relax, because then he was in his jam, right? So he taught me that. He taught me really just to love life. Professionally, I've had quite a few people. I joined some organizations that really helped to grow me, but I'm going to say the person that I really try to emulate still to this day. Her name is Thelma Melendez de Santana. She was superintendent in Pomona Unified when I was a classroom teacher. She saw something in me. And she was the assistant sup at first. So she started kind of saying, you know, you really should consider going into leadership. And I wasn't interested at that time, but over time we spent a lot of we spoke a lot. And she, now I could look back and see how much time she poured into me, and what a great gift that was, because that wasn't, you know, I know how busy she was. She ended up leaving the superintendency in Pomona to be the assistant education secretary under President Obama. So she's just someone that I really, still to this day, very much admire, and I think about the grace that she carried and the role model that she was for children, and that's what I want to be too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the people in our lives that shape us into who we become. So thank you for sharing those people with us.
Yeah, thank you for these great questions. Of course. I appreciate them. And I appreciate both of you. I've gotten to know both of you in different ways through the Superintendent Student Advisory. And you are not only just inspirational, but you're like deep souls. Yeah, very, very mature for your age. So thank you. So thank you for joining us in the Ask a Superintendent interview. You can see that we've got some fabulous children in Worcester Public Schools. They are young adults, and they are going to take the city to a whole nother level. We'll see you next time.
For the WPS News Team, I'm Teresa Forndia.
And I'm Rachel Grace Cabano.
From here,
anywhere, together.